Hello, students. So now we are going through the topic called Animal Kingdom, chordates and non-chordates. Uh, Animal Kingdom, chordates and non-chordates. So basically, in Animal Kingdom, so there are levels of organizations. So the one is cellular level, and another one is organ systems. So basically, the cellular levels are we already know it is a single cellular level. So basically, they are non-chordates. So what is chordate and non-chordate? So a chordate means a uh, a chordate means which is a which is a which absence of vertebrae. Uh, Absence of vertebrae, which is no spinal cord or any other connecting nerves. Whereas in the organ system, there are two types. We need to classify two types. One is radial, and another one is bilateral. So, what is radial? A radial for the radial organism, which consists of both ectoderm and endoderm. Whereas which bilateral organism, which consists of uh, ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. So for both the difference of this organism, so this radial type of organism, which consists of a simpler organ system, whereas bilateral organism, which consists of complex organ systems, including mammals and humans, we consist of a circulatory system, nervous system, digestive system, skeletal system, and so on. Whereas the radial system, which consists of simpler organism, which consists of both only ectoderm and endoderm. Whereas bilateral organism, bilateral organism, which consists of ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm, so that only it develop a complex tissues and organ systems. So also the term by we can able to divide we can able to symmetric the living organism in two parts. So two parts, that's why it is called as bilateral. Okay. So in that bilateral, we can classify into three types. We can classify into uh, three types. So one is acolomates, and the second one is pseudocoelomates, and coelomates, which is true coelomates. Okay. What so acoelomates, which means organs, a living organism which doesn't consist of uh, so, which doesn't consist of coelomates, which means body cavity. Coelomates means body cavity. Now wait a minute. Yeah. Coelomates means a body cavity. Acoelomates means organism which doesn't consist of a body cavity. Okay, pseudocoelomates. Pseudo, which means it consists of a false body cavity. And coelomates, which in which the organism which consists of true cilium, which means a true body cavity. Okay, so we can classify the in that we can classify the organisms or organisms and organ systems. So yes, so in a cellular level, okay, in a cellular wait a minute. Yes, in a cellular level, so there are organisms we can classify in the phylum as porifera. Okay, and then uh, and then in a tissue and organ system level. In a tissue and organ system level, we classified already as two types, uh, radial, bilateral. So in that radial, we can under the radial we have two phylums. One is Cnidaria, Cnidaria, and Platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes. In bilateral type, we classified as three types as acoelomates, pseudocoelomates, and coelomates. In acoelomates, okay, in radial type, we have two types. One is Cnidaria and Setnophora. Sorry for the mistake. And yes, in bilateral we have acoelomates. In that only platyhelminthes. In pseudocoelomates, we have ascalmanthus. Okay. In coelomates only, we have six types of phylums. One is Annelida, Arthropoda, and Mollusca. Uh, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata, and final one is Chordata. So in that all the except this Chordata, so all the classified living organisms are non-chordates. And except this chordata, which have a true vertebrae and have a connecting nervous systems. So other than this chordata, which all the classified living organisms are non-chordates, which have a false or no vertebrae and also no connecting nerves. So yes. So so next we jump into the topic called we jump into the phylum Porifera. Okay. Yes. This should be nice. Okay. So phylum Porifera. So what is so Porifera? Okay. So define the term pori, which means in Greek word, por means pori means pores. So imagine the we already use in household material. Imagine a sponge which we use in a household material. So in that sponge we find we closely look on the sponge, so which consists of tiny small pores. So in the this organism, which consists of which its whole body consists of only pores only. Okay. So which consists of perforated pores, which is its pore is called as ostia. Okay. The organism which consists of pores, that pores are called as perforated pores are called as ostia. So this ostia, okay, what these pores are doing is uh, the water which enters through this pores ostia, and through that water this organism feeds on its own. Okay. So yeah, exactly like a canal system. Okay. So the water enters through this ostia. So water enters to the ostia. From that water, this organism feeds on its own, which acts as a canal system. Uh, through that pores only, which the it carries its own food and oxygen. Okay, through that pores only, it carries its own food and oxygen by through the water. So yes, the body wall, the its body wall, which consists of spicules. Its body walls is consist of spicules, which forms a skeletal framework. Spicules, which forms a skeletal framework, like this. Like this only, the spongy skeletal framework looks like this. So yes, its reproduction is both reproduction. So its reproduction is both sexual and asexual methods. Both sexual and asexual methods. So example for the spongy phylum Porifera is Sycon, Sycon. So this organism, which comes under the phylum Folifera, which consists of pores called ostia, so which acts as a canal system where the water flows through this ostia. From through that, food and oxygen are carried out. The body wall, which consists of spicule, which gives which forms the skeletal system. Skeletal system of framework. That's only it gives a definite shape of the sponge, and the reproduction is both sexual and asexual methods. So example for that, phylum Porifera is Sycon. And next phylum is phylum Colentrata. So another name for Colentrata is Nidaria. Okay. So yes, so Colentrata, which are all aquatic organisms. So Colentrata are aquatic organisms. They are multicellular, radially symmetrical, and are diploplastic. Diploplastic. We already seen in a radial organism, which consists of only ectoderm and endoderm. So these two layers of tissues are called as diploplastic. Okay. So yes, in that Colentrata, so ectoderm and endoderm are separated by a jelly-like substance called mesogella. Okay, and ectoderm or endoderm are separated by a separate tissue layer called mesogella, and also nidaria. The term nidaria, which consists of spine tentacles. Okay. Nidaria. Uh, the term nidaria, which comes under called which comes under by definition of spine tentacles. Yes, so the tentacle bearing stings are called as nidoblast or nematocyst. Nidoblast or, sorry, nidoblast or nematocyst. So best example for the phylum Colentrata is jellyfish. So jellyfish, which consists of a spine-like tentacles, so that's why it comes under phylum Colentrata. I mean phylum Nidaria. Yes, sir. Okay. So the phylum Colentrata aquatic organism, multicellular, radially symmetrical, and are diploblastic. Though both ectoderm and endoderm are separated by mesogella, and it also have spine-like tentacles, which called as nidoblast or nematocyst. Okay. So yes, next we move into phylum Platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes. So these organisms are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic. So triploblastic, which consists of the tissue layer, ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. Okay. So most organism under this phylum are parasitic. Parasitic Parasitic organisms. So yes, suckers and hookers. So which this parasitic organism, which consists of and hook like hook like organs, which attach on the organism, and from that organisms it extracts food from there. Okay. So these forms are hermaphrodite. Yes, they are. These organisms are hermaphrodite, which means consist of uh, male and female organs in a. So these organisms are hermaphrodites, so which means male and female organisms are present in a single individual, which means male and female organs are present inside in a single organism. So for example, for this platyhelminthes are uh, liver fluke, and tapeworm. Okay. So tapeworm is the best example. So the tapeworm is the best example for a parasite organism. Yeah, uh, it is present in both domestic animals, domestic and wild animals, and including if we consume the affected domestic and wild animals, it can affect on humans too. Okay. So best example is tapeworm. So they are bilaterally symmetrical and triploblastic. So these are all parasitic organisms, and obviously hermaphrodite. So the male and female organs are in a single organisms. So next Next topic, next phylum is Ascalmanthus. So phylum Ascalmanthus, same like a phylum Platyhelminthes, they are also bilaterally symmetrical. Bilaterally symmetrical and triploblastic animals. Triploblastic animals. So yes, they they exist as a free living organism. Or as a parasitic organism, which means they live in these organisms under the phylum Ascalmanthus. They are free living soil organisms. They can live through in soil or as a parasite organism. They its body is round and pointed at ends, which means its body is a round shape and pointed at both the ends like this. A sharp pointed at both ends. So obviously, we best example for the phylum Ascalmanthus is which area are roundworms. Yes, roundworms. Best agriculture friendly, agri friend, which lives through the soil or as a parasite organisms. Yes. Uh, the next phylum is phylum Annelida. Phylum Annelida. So yes, these are all bilaterally symmetrical. First, true coeliomate organisms, which means organism which consist of true body cavity. Organism which consists of a true body cavity with a organ grade system of organization. So yes, it is covered by uh, this organ which is it's covered by the moist thin cuticle. So these organism which comes under the phylum Annelida are covered by the moist thin cuticle, and sexes are maybe uh, separated or hermaphrodite. Sexes are either separated, which means both male and female, or hermaphrodite. So example, best example for phylum Annelida is earthworm, leech. So yeah, earthworm and leech. They are look like a moisty. They are when we touch those these organisms, they are look like moist. They are look like moist because of this covered by this thin cuticle. Yeah, their sexes are either separated or maybe hermaphrodite. So first true coelomate organism. This is the first important. This is the important first true coelomate organism, which means a true body cavity which is present in there. And then phylum Arthropoda. Uh, Artho means joint legs. Okay. In this phylum Arthropoda, the organism which comes under the phylum Arthropoda, which are jointed legs. Okay, jointed legs. They are sym- yes, bilaterally symmetrical. Yes, they are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic. They are bilaterally symmetrical and triploblastic, and yeah, obviously coelomate animals. Coelomate animals, and unlike the previous organism, we can't able to classify which one is head, which one is thorax, and which one is abdomen. So in here, in this from this organism, we can able to classify the organism which yeah, divisible in classify organism means divisible into head, thorax, and abdomen. So each yeah, already I said these are all jointed legs. Each segment bear a pair of jointed legs, which means uh, each segment, each segment, head, thorax, and abdomen. Each of the segment bears a pair of jointed legs, which means for head itself, it consists of a pair of two legs, and thorax consists of pair of two legs, and abdomen which consists of a pair of legs. Yes, joint, which are all the jointed legs, and exoskeleton is made up of a substance called chitin. An exoskeleton is made up of a substance called chitin, which is a which is used for a periodic animal growth. Periodic animal growth, and so how this exoskeleton gets removed of it. Like unlike like snake, its skin is getting removed, right? The same like in phylum Arthropoda, its exoskeleton are removed off, and it start growing again. It's this process is called as molting. This process is called as molting. Molting means casting off and yeah, casting off and regrow. Regrow its exoskeleton, which is called as molting. Yeah, how it's regrow? Okay, with the help of a substance called chitin. Okay, with its help of a substance called chitin, the exoskeleton will regrow. Okay, so example for phylum Arthropoda is uh, centipede, centipede, millipede, spiders, spiders. So these are the organisms which are come under the phylum Arthropoda. And next organisms are next phylum is phylum Mollusca. They are these are all the diversified group which lives on marine, freshwater, and terrestrial organism. These are terrestrial organisms. So yes, they are also bilaterally symmetrical. Bilaterally symmetrical, soft skin, and without segmentation. We can able to segment this organism. So they are bilaterally symmetrical, soft skin, and without segmentation. So yes, it is divided into three. Yeah, like arthropods, we can able to classify its segment as uh, divided into head, muscular foot, and visceral mass. Visceral mass are the foot. This muscular foot which helps for locomotion, movement of those organisms. Yes. Uh, the entire body, this in phylum Mollusca, its entire body is covered with a fold of thin skin. A fold thin skin, which is called as mantle. So this mantle is nothing but it's a visceral mass. Okay, this mantle is nothing but it's with a visceral mass. In that mantle, the outer side of the mantle, which secretes calcareous, calcium like substances, which makes look like a hard calcareous cells. Hard calcareous cells. Uh, it's respires either through either gills or lungs. Respires through either gills or lungs. So sex in phylum Mollusca, its separate, which means both male and female are separate with sexes are separate with larva stage. At the larva stage, it's their sexes are getting separate. Okay. If best example for phylum mollusca is garden snail and octopus. And the finally, final phylum. Next phylum is phylum Echinodermata. Phylum Echinodermata. These are also exclusively free-living marine creature. In the organism which comes under the phylum Echinodermata, these are all phylum free-living marine creature. We cannot able to see on the land or any terrestrial areas, and they are also triploblastic. They are also triploblastic true ciliates. Organism having a true body cavity, true ciliate, and organ system grade of organization. Which means we can able to classify the organ system in echinodermata organisms like a pair of arms, separate mouth and excretory system which consists in there. Yeah, that's why we called as organ system grade of organization. Yeah, adults in the phylum echinodermata, adult organism are radially symmetrical. Radially symmetrical, but larva stage remains bilaterally symmetrical. Okay, for adults, radially symmetrical for adult, bilateral symmetrical for larva stage. So look how this organism moves. The locomotion is occurred through tube feet. For this organism which have a tube feet, through the tube feet only, it can move or locomote through one place to another place. So locomotion is occurred through the tube feet. Okay, so the body wall is covered with a spiny hook like a hard skin which called as calcareous oxicles. Okay, uh, calcareous ossicles. So best example for the phylum Echinodermata is starfish. Starfish and sea urchin. The next phylum is Hemichordata. Then next phylum is a Hemichordata. So this phylum are also a marine organism. The organism which comes under the phylum Hemichordata are also marine organism, which are soft, unsegmented body. We can able to classify head, tail, or something like that. So which is a unsegmented body. The term hemichordata, which means hemi means half, which means which consists it consists of a characteristics of a non-chordate and chordate features. Yeah, hemi means a half, which means which consists of both chordate and chordate and non-chordate features. Uh, which means uh, it does have a it does breathe breathe through gills and have false vertebrae. Okay, false vertebrae. That's why we mentioned it as a hemichordate means which consists of a chordate and non-chordate features. Okay, so they are most in a tuberculous forms, which means a tube-like structure. Tuberculous forms a tube-like structure only. So best example for a phylum hemichordata is acornworms. Acorn, acornworms. Okay, so they are marine organisms. Soft, we can able to unsegmented its body as a head, thorax, or abdomen type. So which means they are also have a chordate and non both chordate and non-chordate features. They are in tuberculous forms, tube-like structures only. Tuberculous forms, which means acorn worms. So for the here we finished our non-chordate organisms. Now we can jump into chordata organisms. So chordata means presence of notochord, a protogenitor of spinal cord. We can say that a protogenitor of spinal cord. Okay, notochord means a progenitor, proto model of a spinal cord, which means we can call it as a that's why we call it as a notochord. Yeah, it consists of notochord, dorsal nerve, and yes, dorsal nerve and a pair of gill pouches, or a pair of lungs. Lungs and also have chambers of hearts. Chambers of heart. Uh, so and also has a chamber of heart. Okay. So in that car data, we classify into two types. Okay. we classify into two types. One is protochordata and another one is vertebrata. In that vertebrata only, organism which have a true spinal cord. True spinal cord. And protochordata, obviously, protochordata is a model for an organism. Okay. So in that protochordata, we can classify we can classify into two subphylums. One is urochordata and another one is cephalochordata. In vertebrata, we can classify into another five subclasses. The first one is pieces. Second one is amphibia. Third one is reptilia. Fourth one is apes. Fifth one is mammalia. So pieces, the word pieces, which in Greek word which defines fish. Amph means the organism which survives both on land and water. So best example for this amphibia is frog. Reptilia, the repis, which means able to crawl. Okay, able to crawl or creep. Able to crawl or creep, which means a best example for a crawl or creep means lizard and snake. Okay, avis, we in Greek term it is pronounced as avis, which means birds. And mammalia, mama. So we in mama means which consists of a pair of lactating organ, which means a breast. Okay, so not only humans have lactating organisms. Even animals are also have animals and birds are also have lactating organism. So best example is rabbit, bat. A bat is a bird which only bird which comes under the mammalia class, and yes, bat and human. Okay, and also some egg laying organisms are also come under the mammalia organism. So best example for the egg laying mammalia organism are platypus and anteater. Okay, anteater are come under mammalia organism. So of this classes, the first three classes from pieces to reptilia, pieces to reptilia are cold-blooded animals, whereas from apes to mammalia, they are all hot, warm-blooded animals, warm-blooded organisms. So if you like these classes, if you can more to know about the phylum chordata, you can contact through Urban Pro. you can contact me through via Urban Pro. Thank you.